My name is Julie, and I was part of the multi-level marketing industry for 5 years. And in that 5 years, I was part of two high control groups, which, in my opinion, are commercial cults, simultaneously for 5 years. One was a network marketing coaching group on Facebook, and the other one was a network marketing company. And so that's my perspective, like coming through creating anti-MLM content. And it occurred to me that I make a lot of content on TikTok. That's where I really like to play. I love the format. I just let her rip because anything goes on TikTok. And I love using sounds and audios, lyrics to songs to communicate. A lot of times I have a hard time trying to get out what I'm trying to express. And it's like I'm finger painting over there. Like I have so much fun creating content on TikTok. But because of my experiences within the multi-level marketing industry, I feel like John Taylor, what he says, a moral imperative to speak out. And anyway, it's occurred to me that I have never spoken about like different interviews that I've done already since speaking out, and that it might be helpful to you to like use those as a resource. Because where I'm coming from in creating anti-MLM content is that I'm trying to reach people who are exiting their MLMs. They're starting to question, and they feel unsafe. That's where I'm coming from. And anybody else that it lands on, that's cool too. My whole goal in creating this content is I'm doing this as a hobby. I'm not monetizing it. I just want to raise awareness. I want people to know that what they're experiencing is not unique, that it's okay to ask for help and to get therapy, that you've been a part of what's similar to an abusive relationship, that you're not being dramatic, that these things that you're experiencing, gaslighting, name calling, shunning, this is what happens in high control groups. So I wrote down a list here and I'm gonna like give you the links. I'll put the links in the descriptions to the different interviews that I've done. So it might help you out. So I'll just go in terms of YouTube videos first, since this is where this is made. This is a YouTube video. This first one is with Aaron Bees and Julie Joe, and also with my former coach that was in the network marketing coaching group, and we've since become really good friends. And her name is Jen Rayla. A little piece of that story for you is my real main goal in speaking out was I hoped that she would get out one day. And one day she messaged me on TikTok and said, like, she was working on her exit strategy, and I just about fell over. I'm like, oh my goodness. And I actually messaged another anti-MLM creator, Danielle Bolster, who has a podcast from Huns to Humans, which I'll also link because I was interviewed by her. And I asked for help. I didn't know how do I have these conversations with people who are still within, but that want to get out. And she gave me a really good piece of advice, and I used it. She said, I know you're going to want, because I was fresh out myself. I was just starting to speak out. And if you have been a part of these high control groups, it's really hard to start just piecing together what happened to you. Timelines are screwed up. And you'll notice listening to different interviews, people will lose their train of thought quite easily. And that's normal. That's normal behavior. And time heals. I thought I was going to have to work really hard and do all this mindset work similar to when I was in network marketing in order to heal. But a lot of times you just need time away. You just need to sleep and you start to heal, and things take care of themselves naturally. So I took that advice, and I would listen to my coach. I was just holding space, basically. And Danielle had told me, don't, you're going to want to just like spew and say, yeah, I know, like this and this is wrong and this is wrong, and point out these things. She says, but let her talk, let her hear herself. And that was such good advice. And then she got out, and she's speaking out now too. So that's a big piece of content, because I know I've been reached out to people. I know others as well. I don't want to speak for anyone, but other people who have left, starting to leave, starting to question, and they're like, I thought it was all in my head. Thank you for speaking out. A lot of times, you just start speaking out for those who are unable to, because there's a lot of shame attached to this too. Okay, the next one is with Kirsty Flickinger, and I saw her covering some of this content, and I thought I really liked her approach. And for where I was at the time, I needed to get this out. I felt like there was, I don't know, I felt there was this pressure, and there was like at times there, it was the right time. And I had sent her an email, and then she asked me if I would be, if I'd be open to coming on her YouTube, and then, reading this letter and then having an interview. And after that interview, I took 2 weeks off social media, and it was a lot. I still feel like that was good. Like, I'm like, I got that out. I feel good. Whatever happens is going to happen. That information is going to find someone. You can't rush somebody out of these groups, but at least it's out there. And then, time passes, and then it's important for me, to keep taking time off social media. That's good for my mental health. But I really like to create content as well. I really like to create content on TikTok. And now I found I really like playing on YouTube too. I really like making these intros and outros. And then I like to share this information too, because I know when I first got out and I started to come across anti-MLM content, it helped me. Each piece of content added to a growing awareness for me to eventually leave. I was able to critically think. It was like fuel. So I know that each voice is important, and it doesn't matter how many followers you have, and it doesn't matter if you're angry, if you're raging, if you're swearing, if you're more healing and you're more chill. It doesn't matter. Your voice, it's kind of like when we were in network marketing. Stories sell. Your voice, you being authentic, is going to reach someone. And so then it's onto the podcast. The very first person I spoke to was Danielle Bolster from Huns to Humans. And I spoke about my experience with my network marketing company. And that's this that's this one. And then this is the part 2, the second half of my story, that with my interview with Danielle Bolster on From Huns to Humans. And there's a gap between when I was telling my network marketing story, with my network marketing company, versus the network marketing coaching group, because that's the one that really fucked me up. I needed professional help to help me deal with that and to get the courage to even speak out about it. And so that's why it was hard for me to even piece things together, because I was a part of these 2 high control groups, and there's a lot of things that are going on at the same time. And I can't talk about one without the other, but then I was too afraid to. So that's where that was. The next podcast, I spoke with Erin Bees here on YouTube, and but she has a podcast as well, the Beast Mode podcast, and I spoke with her about my network marketing experience. And then it was off air afterwards, I was telling her about the network marketing coaching group. This was still before I had the courage to even speak about it publicly. And the most current one, the most recent one, has been with Roberta Blevins from Life After MLM. And this was really special because we've become friends now. It's so funny how life works out. I had watched Lula Rich on Prime, and that really got through to me. That had kind of kick-started me really starting to consume anti-MLM content. And then I found her podcast, and I couldn't believe the stories I was hearing of people. They were just like me, all different companies. How could we all have these same exact experiences? I wasn't alone. And we were following each other on TikTok. And then as it turns out, then I ended up having this interview with her. And so that's the power of speaking out. We all help each other. So that's the Life After MLM episode. Okay, what does go for no mean? When you're within multi-level marketing, we're coached and taught to go for no. That means to send messages to people. You want to have conversations with people. So cold messages, that was what I was coached to do, is, hey, would you be open to taking a look at this way I have to make some extra money? If not, no big deal. Hey, we were always coached. If you want to grow your business, then you lead with the opportunity. You can lead with the product, but if you are serious about growing your business, it's about recruitment. They don't say recruitment, but they say it's about growing your business, growing your organization, growing your team. Going for no means you're actively chasing rejection. And how this is framed, and it does work, is that it gets you used to doing things that are really uncomfortable and distasteful to you. I hated sending messages to people cold messages like this. They would give you these scripts and you would just send them out to random people on the internet. Now, these are people that you don't know. And I would go on Facebook. This was my strategy. So say I knew somebody that I really liked named Harry. And I knew a guy named Harry that was a realtor. I would type in Harry Realtor, Harry Realtor. And all these names would come up from all over the place. And then I would just send Harry Realtor, hey, Harry, I see that you're Harry. Hey, Harry. I know we don't know each other, but I see that you're a realtor. I help realtors make some extra money. Would you be open to taking a look at what I do? If not, no big deal. And I'd send out all these messages. At my peak, I was sending out 200 messages a day. It's not an exaggeration, and I'm not alone in doing this, especially within the network marketing coaching group I was a part of. Us fuckers, we work hard. We really believe that if we just work hard enough, we're going to achieve success. And we're going to work hard on our mindset as well. And this stuff takes a lot of time. So people that think, or they say that, oh, you just want easy money, you're not afraid to work. The people that are within network marketing are very hard workers. So now the point of this going for no is that you're sending out all these messages to people, but most people are kind and they don't want to hurt your feelings. And so they're just going to ignore your message, or they may give you an excuse, but they don't want to say no, because saying no to people it can be very uncomfortable. And especially if you're like a people pleaser, or you're just like, I just don't want to hurt their feelings. So if you actually have somebody that says no, we're like, yeah, I finally got a rejection. And we're like coached to like count that as a win. Because if we receive, 10 no's, the 11th response might be a yes. So the more rejection we get, the stronger, or the more resistant we're going to be to feeling bad about ourselves or to being rejected. So you're just going to like continue to work to get this goal of getting no's. Now, it was held out to me and to so many people too within this coaching group. If you get 20 no's a day, that's the ultimate thing. Like, not hardly anybody has achieved this holy grail of reaching 20 no's a day. But it's possible if you work hard enough. You have to talk to enough people. The thing is about getting somebody to get a no is, like I said, a lot of people are just being nice. They just aren't going to respond to you. So what we're coached to do is to keep following you, which means you are harassing people and spamming people because they haven't told you no yet. Sometimes no is a non-response, but we don't have social cues in network marketing. We're taught that, nope, they're not paying your bills. You have a vision for the future. You want to impact millions. You want to, it's more of this brainwash shit, right? So you keep following up with people until they give you an answer. And so that's kind of like the premise of go for no. I hope I explained that okay. Let me know if please let me know if that makes sense. I'm improving as I start talking about this stuff. So I wrote some notes here about why it's important for you to say no. So we're operating that we don't know. We think that it's like this win if you actually say no, but we don't think that your non-response is you saying no. We just think that means it's like you're probably still open. It's just not the right time yet. You're busy. You might have opened it up. We're coached all these things that, you're just looking at your phone and you're like, I'm going to get back to that later. And then you forget about it. So you know what? We're going to follow up with you in 4 days, in 30 days, in 60 days, in 90 days. And it's going to keep on going like that. And we'll have books. We had prospecting journals where we would write down all this information. There's apps that people use. It can get pretty involved because saying no can be uncomfortable. And so this is another way of saying people will try to say no by being polite. They'll say, I'm going to have to ask my husband. I'm going to have to ask my wife. But a lot of this training is geared towards women, because a lot of women are in network marketing or multi-level marketing or social selling or social retail or whatever the fuck they're going to use next. It's all multi-level marketing. I have to talk to my husband about this. So then you'll see trainings, and also people within the multi-level marketing industry make content saying, you don't need to ask your husband's permission to do something. They use that angle. They'll create content like that. And I don't know if I created content like that. I created disturbing content. I don't know if I did it on that one. I came across a memory yesterday I wrote, or one of this training, and it was talking about abuse. And the training I was talking about was that you can use your abuse as an excuse and have a pity party trip, or you can use it as fuel for your fire. And it's like shit like that. When I come across my memories, I'm like, oh my God, I'm really concerned for people who are starting to wake up and get out, because you need to reconcile your actions, how you also became like abusive and a manipulator while you're in this, but you really believe at the time you're helping people. It is such a mind fuck, and that's what I'm really concerned with, because I know for me, 4 months out after I had thought I had figured it out, and it was 4 months after, I'm like, I need to get help. Okay, back to going for no. Sorry if I go on these tangents, but I think it's helpful to have like a conversation like this. I need to ask my husband, and they're going to use that as they're overcoming any objection. We're trained to overcome any objection, so that's when it's like, do you need to ask his permission? Well, you know what? I'll just wait here and until you ask his permission. We're going to try to like shame you into being like, well, I don't need to ask his permission, but we're trying to get you to just like commit, get you to spend, get you to recruit. Another thing that people will say, instead of just saying no to being prospected, like, would you be open to taking a look at this, is I need to save up for it. It's too much money. Even if you don't mean it. Some people do mean it, but a lot of people, they just say that as an excuse. I don't have the money right now. So what we're coached to do is that, how much money are you looking for? How much money do you need? Because we're saying we're going to like catch you out on it. We had a flow chart that we would follow of what to say. Like if we send somebody a video, and then it's like, how I should do another video on this actually. Okay, anyway, I have so many things to say and talk about. Got to keep the focus here. Say, I need $50. Well, what could you do to get $50? And we'll keep like needling you and pressuring you, and it might be said in a way that might be softer and not as aggressive as that. But it's the point of these sales conversations, the point of us reaching out to you. We're also coached. It's not to get you to commit right away. The whole point of this is to keep you in conversation as long as possible, by any means possible. So we're going to keep asking you questions. We're going to end every statement with a question. Another thing to watch out for is when we're having sales conversations with you, if these are called sales conversations, these are like cult conversations, is we're coached to use less words than you do, because that means we are in power. It's always this really gross, it's framed as a gross power struggle. We want to be in power and have you not in power, which is really fucked up for an industry that's always about like empowering women, right? But from the get-go, from the very first reach out, it's about control. I need to be in power in this conversation. So here's how it would work. I send you a cold message. It could be on Instagram, LinkedIn, wherever, Facebook, and you give me some kind of objection. Say you're like, I have to ask my husband. I have to budget for it, whatever. I'm going to respond to you with fewer words than you have said, because I want to be like in control. So say you know about multi-level marketing companies, that like they're pyramid schemes, that they're commercial cults. Maybe you've been hurt. Maybe you have friends and family that have been hurt. Maybe you have friends and family that are still in, and you see how they're like, that's all they talk about. It's taking over their lives. They, got into this with good hearts. They wanted to create time and money freedom, and they're just spending all their time and money on these groups, right? On these companies and this coaching. And so what you want to, and instead of replying back, multi-level marketing companies are a pyramid scheme, blah, 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 blah. Instead, I would like make sure to whatever response, if you choose to do this, but if you're going to respond, you might as well respond powerfully in a way that will get their attention, and it might create some cognitive dissonance with them, and it might plant that seed. It's because you're going to be using their own techniques against them. Just respond with fewer words than they do. I had somebody, I had made a reel on, it was a TikTok, and then I uploaded it as a reel to Facebook. And then one of these people that were still in this network marketing coaching group, when I first started speaking out, they were like a fucking swarm. They just would not leave me alone. They left some comment. A lot of them would say, "Why the sudden 180?" That's a common one. And I just replied back, "Interesting, isn't it?" And then they replied, "Indeed." It's like it was like going down. And so I did like an ellipses at the end. I just put like 3 dots. I didn't even have to respond, but there's some days when I'm like speaking out, I've just had it, and I need to set a boundary, but that's an example, of just using less words to respond to someone. Keep that in mind, because that's what we're taught. And I have no idea if it's truth. I think all of this stuff is bullshit, but it will definitely catch their attention. Another thing is if you say, "I need to think about it," they'll say, "Well, how long do you need to think?" We would say, "How long do you need to think about it? Would you maybe have a decision made by Friday?" Or something like that. We're always going to challenge your objection with another question, forcing you to answer, because we want to keep you in conversation as long as possible. That's why we're always asking questions. You might say, "I'm not a salesperson." It doesn't matter. We'll have stories, because we're taught to go to events, even virtually, and just listen to people's stories. They're like, "Oh, this person said we got to take our notes too. This person said that they weren't a salesperson." It's like, I know somebody on my team, Joanne from Tucson, who is not a salesperson, and yet she ended up making an additional $7,500 a month. And then we were also coached to use any story from any company at any time, even if it happened 20 years ago. It happened, therefore you can use the story. This is the level of deception, and it's all considered okay. This is what we're taught is effective sales. This is what we're taught is ethical and operating out of integrity. This is what we are coached, is that we are in alignment. So if you had a story, so say a company, you're with a shampoo company, and somebody that you're trying to recruit says they're not a salesperson, and you have no stories from your company that somebody that said, "I'm not a salesperson." How could you counter this objection? But yet you're in this network marketing coaching group, and you see a story of somebody from 15 years ago who is in a company that sold weight loss supplements. And they said they were not a salesperson, and they ended up and they were blind, and they recruited 100,000 people to their team. You can use that story. That's what we're coached to. It's okay. Well, that's okay. I know this guy named Bob who was blind, and he sold and you eliminate that he sold weight loss supplements because he's a part of the whole industry. Therefore, it counts. Bob is blind, and he wasn't a salesperson, and he ended up having 100,000 people on his team. Next one is that people say that you don't want to say no, is that I don't want to do this full time. It's going to be the same thing. We're always going to have a response, and we're going to be like, "What do you think about that?" We're always going to end with a question just to keep you answering. Our goal is to keep you in conversation. Our goal is not to close right away. Our goal is always to keep you in conversation. And then after this conversation, if you still don't say no, if you're still being nice and you think, "Oh, maybe they're just going to go away if I just stop responding to them," we take that as a green light to keep asking you. We will keep pestering you. Every so often, every few months, we were also coached in this network marketing coaching group and given as an example of somebody who was followed up with, and it would be like, "I followed up with this individual for I forget what it was, 7 years or something like that, years." If it was 7 years, that's really messed up. I must be misremembering this, but it wouldn't surprise me. It was a long fucking time anyway. And he came to this conference or whatever, and he said, he sent me all these messages over and over, and I finally signed up. And that's held up as an example. It's like, you never give up. "Hey, I'm going to be in your city doing this presentation. Would you be open to coming?" And then you wait another 3 months. "Hey, just wanted to say there was this bus driver, Bob, who was blind, and he's made $100,000 this year. Do you know anyone else who is blind and would like to earn some extra money? Like, it just went on and on and on. And I don't even know if this story is legit, like it's the truth or not, because everything is fucking bullshit. Like, the more I've been learning and I've been hearing a lot of these stories, I heard myself a lot of these stories and examples. It's going on 6 years now. I was involved for 5 years. I heard all these stories. Now I'm like, have these stories been being told for 15 years? Like, all of these coaching stories? Oh, probably. So if you still don't say no, then what we're going to be doing is going to be continuing to send you messages, and also add you. If we are added onto like Facebook or on Instagram, we'll drip on you. We create a drip list. It's so gross. It's so disgusting. So we'll just constantly like your post or comment every once in a while. We'll have a notebook. We'll plan it out. Some people have spreadsheets. Some people do this in groups, and they'll be like, "Oh, congratulations to your daughter who just graduated." Just so we're always there. We're always there in the back, or just our presence. It's creating this. You have to get people to know, like, and trust you. We manipulate you. We're always going to be there. We're going to do thoughtful things for you under the guise of we're going to ultimately help you by just getting you into our multi-level marketing company. So there's a drip list. You could be added to a prospecting drip list. Another thing that people will do, this is so stupid. Maybe you've heard of this. And I've had it happen to me since I've been speaking out. I'm like, come on. I made a post about this too. It's like this 3 rule. You comment on 3 posts, Instagram posts of someone, and then you send them a DM. So you're creating this false relationship with someone in order to prospect them. And I remember attending a training of somebody who was like, she attracted, or she recruited 40 people last month. It was something like that. How did she do it? And she would do this strategy. If I'm remembering correctly, if you know who I'm talking about, or if you remember this, please like correct me. But the whole fucking concept is the same. She'd like send comment on 3 different posts, thoughtful comments, not just spammy ones. You have to be honest. You have to be like, really interested in the person. And then send them a DM. I think you'd be great at what I do. Hey, hon, something like that. And then the person would respond, oh, this is amazing. This person is an influencer. This person has a blue check mark beside their name. This person has way more followers than me. Why would they be complimenting me? They make me feel so special. This is really awesome. And then they'd say, okay, what's the information? Can you get on a Zoom call with me? That one-on-one attention. And then this person would just like recruit these people. And that was held up as this example. Of course, you have somebody who has lots of followers, lots of, status, perceived social media status that does that. It's different than somebody that's getting in at, has no social media presence at all. And they're like, well, I'm going to apply this strategy myself, and it doesn't work. It's not going to work. And it doesn't work for most people. Yeah, boom, you sign up. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about. That's the go for no. I hope this makes sense. Fuck. Okay, wrapping up with all this. If you don't want to be harassed, you gotta say no, and you have to say no firmly. No is a complete sentence, and I know it's really hard for a lot of people to say no. It's not that easy, and it's something that you can practice, and then you get better at it, and it can feel really uncomfortable saying it at first because you don't want to hurt somebody else's feelings. But people within multi-level marketing don't give a fuck about your feelings. When they're going for no, you are just a number. You are just somebody else to be added in their pipeline. You're like, good. And what we were taught is that it was almost this near impossibility to get 20 no's a day. I would say give them what they want. Give them their no faster so they can fuck off and leave you alone. And it will also take away that mystery of that what we're coached to do. It's like, oh, it's so impossible to get no's. Like, I must be such an amazing recruiter for receiving all these no's. No, it's because you're harassing so many people so often that they finally say no. Because a lot of people don't want to say no outright. because it's very uncomfortable for them. It has nothing to do with your recruiting prowess. It's because you're harassing people. So much so that they have to say no. Saying no is difficult. And it's good to practice saying no. And the first few times you do it, it might feel really uncomfortable. But if you get a message, it's saying no. No is a complete sentence. And I've just said, I just put no period, and that's it. And saying no, like, it's like, that's the shortest sentence possible. So, using that weird psychology power thing that we were coached to do, is like of using less words than the other person. No period is the shortest sentence possible. And it's like, that sends a clear message. Thank you so much for watching. And if you're in one of these multi-level marketing companies, you're starting to ask questions, there is nothing wrong with your mindset. They like to say that people have a victim mindset. But we were also coached, when anybody says something like that, then the corollary must be true. That's the language that was used. So that means there must be an abuser mindset. But you will never hear that talked about in network marketing. They'll only talk about victim mindset. They'll talk about how everything is your responsibility, that your thoughts create your reality. The same old, same old. There is nothing wrong with your mindset. You're perfect exactly as you are. You're amazing, and you're fucking awesome. And even if you are watching this and you think I'm a hater and that I am filled with hate, I still respect you. And I hope you get out one day. And I will see you in the next video.